Hello, y'all. Wanted to give a quick notice here. I just got out of a movie that blindsided me. I had no idea what to expect. I just knew I kind of wanted to see a movie tonight, but I didn't want to see Fantastic Four. So I checked and looked and found what else was playing. And it turned out there's some movie that was playing called The Home, and it's a horror movie, and it starred Pete Davidson, which I don't have any strong feelings about. I know he's sort of a lightning rod, but for most people, for me, I don't, he's sort of I don't feel strongly about him one way or another. He's Pete Davidson, okay? What else is there to say? So I read what it was about, or what it was ostensibly about, and I thought that might be interesting. Why don't I go see that? And I wasn't expecting much. I thought it would be just I don't know, like a schlocky kind of, but maybe kind of fun, campy kind of horror movie. Had no idea it would be quite so profound as it was. Now I would say that to be clear, I think it retains a level of camp enjoyment as well. But I think, I was recently talking about what's his name? Damn. Paul Verhoeven. That's who it was. I was recently talking about Paul Verhoeven and his movies, and how they have a surprising intelligence. His science fiction movies that seem just really kind of built for the lowest common denominator in some ways. Just a lot of really gory violence, and gratuitous violence, and dumb dialogue and stuff, but there's also an intelligence at work. I think there's something similar going on here with this movie, The Home. Now, I don't want to give it away per se, but I think I'm going to give away something about the twist, because on the surface here, I'll just tell you what the premise is on the surface before talking about the twist, and I'm going to try to talk about the twist in a way that's vague enough to not spoil anything too much, because I do think this is a movie that's worth seeing if you're a horror movie fan, if you're somebody who can tolerate a lot of blood and gore and guts. If not, obviously don't see it. But the premise of this movie is it's about this young man who's raised in a foster home, and maybe Pete Davidson's a little too old to be playing this role. Isn't he in his 30s, and he's playing somebody who I guess should maybe be in his 20s, maybe his young 20s. I don't know. So in that sense, maybe he was miscast. It didn't really cross my mind, though. I didn't think too much about it. It didn't bother me that much. But he's somebody who has grown up in a foster family that seems to be very, very loving, and he had a brother who he was very close to, and that brother went away to college and then abruptly died, apparently by suicide. And ever since his brother's suicide, this guy, the character played by Pete Davidson, has been somebody who just can't get it together. Has just been full of anger and rage, and he's a petty criminal going off and vandalizing, and just can't get over the death of his brother. But after he's arrested for his latest petty crime, his foster father tells him, you know, you could be in real trouble here, but we worked out a special deal for you. The special deal is you can go and be an orderly at this old folks home for a span of 4 months, and then that will be, it's just community service instead of having to do any jail time. And he's not very enthusiastic about it, but he ends up going anyway. When he's at this old folks home, he sees eventually more and more evidence of abuse and of weird experiments being done against the people who are housed at this old folks home. And there's something going on the 4th floor where a bunch of patients are in wheelchairs and just in terrible shape, and nothing can be done to help them. That's what he's told, and he's supposed to stay off of that floor. Well, eventually he finds out there's more going on than meets the eye, and then there's the twist. Of course, there's what we think is going on, the conspiracy that we think is happening, and then it turns out the conspiracy that is actually happening. So this is a horror conspiracy movie. But what makes it really interesting, I think, is this is a movie that, if you have any familiarity with the people who talk about adrenochrome, right? Adrenochrome is mentioned in a lot of conspiracy circles. I'm not going to say too much more about it because, again, I don't want to give anything away. And it's not that adrenochrome is mentioned by name, but the basic idea of what adrenochrome and how it is allegedly harvested, a terrible way that it is allegedly harvested, and those whom it supposedly benefits. That becomes what the conspiracy that this movie is really about. And and what we find out, we find out that what happened to his brother and also happened to a bunch of other foster children is not what he thought happened to them. And eventually there's a very satisfying, extremely cathartic, extremely bloody and violent scene of massive revenge. And it's pretty gutsy, literally and figuratively gutsy, that the movie goes there, because it could be seen as justifying mass slaughter. So that's interesting that they actually go there in the end. So I don't want to say anything more specific than that. I think this is a movie that's probably going to have a very short run. It was released today, and it's only playing like it's like they've just squeezed it in, playing in a house where like just a couple of showings at night. There's no matinee shows or anything where I'm at, and so it's looking like, instead of going straight to video, they were able to secure some kind of release for this movie. I think it's mostly going to be ignored, but I would say if this movie is showing near you, and again, if you're somebody who can tolerate a lot of horror and you're interested in conspiracy theories, see this movie. You will not be disappointed. Those are my thoughts. That's my review of The Home. Thanks for watching.